So occasionally you're going to have a brew that is going to make you want to give up home brewing. This is one of mine. So I started out by brewing up the batch with the direct pitch and the hydrating the dry yeast, but I had a third keg that I had filled up. The idea was that I wanted to go ahead and allow this to stay overnight to cool down so that I could see the difference between temperatures of pitching around 70 degrees and pitching around 50 degrees. The next day I realized that I wasn't going to have time to do that, so I went ahead and I put some pressure into it. I put about 8 pounds of CO2 pressure into it, set it back into the freezer and let it set. It ended up sitting for about 4 weeks before I came in and I pulled out the yeast from my direct pitch and wanted to go ahead and start another batch with that. Now, I poured it out into a 1 liter container, my 1 liter Erlenmeyer flask, and it came out all foam, and that kind of told me that it had a little bit more than 8 psi in it. So I started venting it out. I took my one-way valve, the fermenting under pressure valve, and I stuck it on the import, and it started venting really loud and very fast, and almost immediately started erupting with a fountain of foam. I pulled it out, cleaned everything up nice, and then I spent the next about hour venting out. Then I brought the flask in, and it was already a liter full, so I poured out about 250 milliliters, filled up 250 milliliters with water so that I could thin it out a little bit so that I could get my starter going. And then I pitched probably half of what I had for my direct pitch and set it on my stir plate and let it keep going. Then I went back out into the garage and continued to vent for about another hour. Tried again to get that spung all the way on. Again, it vented out, made a big mess, cleaned that up, spent about another 30 minutes, and finally I was able to get it down to about 15 psi. So, over the course of that night, I went ahead and vented it out. I got it down to 0. And my starter came up. My starter ended up giving me Kreuzen almost 12-hour mark. But since I put it in there and the Erlenmeyer flask was already full, I ended up with a bunch of Kreuzen all over my countertops. So I cleaned that. Then I came back out, went ahead and pitched. But meantime, I did go ahead and try the wort to see what it was like, because I wanted to make sure, obviously, that it was still sweet. It tasted like old armpit. It was nasty, but it was still sweet. So it did tell me that there was a little bit of fermentation, probably from wild yeast, but it should have died out with the insane amount of pressure that I put in there, probably around 25 to 30 psi, which is insane. But I went ahead and did that, pitched it in, set my bung on there at 15 psi, and allowed it to go. This guy did foam up all the way to here, but I'm really not looking forward to trying this because I'm hoping that it only tastes like old armpit, because if it goes all the way to old butthole, I'm going to be very, very upset. But here we go. Okay. It is kind of cloudy, but that's par for my beers. Okay, I'm getting bready. It's very yeasty, so that part is all right. Okay, here we go. There's a sourness on it. The aftertaste gives me a little bit of the old, but fortunately it does seem that most of that nasty is gone. This is very odd. I mean, it's not awful, but I mean, I wouldn't call it my best brew. Oh, it's very, very weird. There is a sourness on it that I almost like a lime, like a lemon lime flavor. It's very weird. It is not something I'm going to repeat. I do still want to try the allowing the wort to cool down overnight. This time I'm going to be better prepared for it, but wow, that's actually not nearly as disappointing as I thought it could be. That's all right. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for all my subscribers and returning viewers. I appreciate it, and until next time.